Hello, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Hope you're all safe, sound, and healthy. And I think we need to talk because I know many people probably have thought along the lines, and many people seem to think that, oh, no, maybe it may go into the terms of talking against God or this and that. But listen, first of all, let's understand one thing. God doesn't need us. He doesn't give a frack about us. In other words, if we put it in a general sort of term, He made us. He's toying with us. This is also a fact, whether we like to romanticize it and say that, oh, he's testing us. Because at the end of the day, point is, at the end of the day, he is the creator, right? It doesn't matter if he's right or wrong, right? Let's just, what I'm trying to say is let's just go beyond religion, beyond everything, and let's just put it down to brass tacks. Okay? I think that's the only way we can really understand everything and where we stand and what we are. Because I usually tend to say that we are the Helens of Troy in the war between God and Satan. Or put it this way, we are, because I think that actually aptly sums up our status, our very existence, okay? We are the Helens of Troy. But if you want to make it a little more better, then you can say we are the pawns, the chess pieces, and the board game between God and Satan. Because essentially, no matter which way you try to put it, this is a game between God and Satan. Call it a game, call it a challenge, whatever it is. And who is the one who's going to pay the price for this game? We. Those of us who had no say in the game, our permission was never even asked for. We didn't matter because we're pawns, we're chess pieces. So this is our real status. Okay? This is our existence in life. That we have no choice in it, we have no say in it, but we have to pay for it. We have to pay for the consequences. And you know what makes it even more funny? The fact that everything is already pre-written, pre-scripted. Every single deviation, every single map, every single path, every single road, every single whatever you like to call it, every single thing is already preordained. Okay? Somebody once asked me, and I think I mentioned this in one of my older podcasts. Somebody once asked me, how would you define Kismet? How would you define fate? When we talk about fate, then on one side we say that, oh, we have a will, a choice. And on the other side, we say, oh, everything is predestined. How does it work? And I told him, think of a roadmap, okay? Think of your own city. Think of a roadmap. There are 3 to 4 different ways to one destination. Every single road that goes to that destination already has whatever it has in it. For example, one road is probably across across another town. Maybe it's a highway or a motorway. Another road is probably through a forest. A third road is probably a muddy, sandy, unfinished, unpaved road, probably going through a village. Okay? And there's another road that's very smooth. Now, one of these roads will probably have added problems of maybe construction work going on, or it will have an open gutter, for example, or manhole or whatever. Okay, so basically, you know that there are 4 existing roads that can take you to that one destination. Every single road already has something in it that is, again, you know that this road has this road has this road has this road has this. Now, where's your willpower and where's your choice? Where's your freedom to make a choice? Which road to take? That's the only choice you have, actually, in life. Yeah, that is our free will, if you please. That is our free will. The the decision to make as to which road to take. The destination is fixed. You have no choice there, right? You need to go there. There is no choice there, right? The only choice you have is how to go there, which road to take. And whichever road you take, whatever is on that road is your destiny. And it is already predestined because it was always there. The only choice you made was which road to take. Whatever is on each road automatically becomes your destiny. Sometimes you know it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you know exactly what is on that road, sometimes you don't. That, my friends, is the definition of destiny. That is how destiny works. That is how fate works. That is how Kismet works. So, how do we work? What is our status in life? We don't have any. As I said, we're chess pieces. We're the Helens of Troy. I can yap on for an hour to explain that, but I'm sure the reason why I choose these sentences is that they are the total sum of all the words that you can put together to explain our status in life, what we're doing here. And the fun part, despite the fact that everything is predestined, everything is already designed, the fact that God even tells us that those who I want to be believers will be believers, and those who I don't want, no matter what they do, they will never be believers. So again, then we don't have a choice. We're striving, but we don't have a choice. So it means if God doesn't want to accept us as his believers, even if we're born believers, he will make sure we don't end up as believers and that we die as non-believers or unbelievers or disbelievers. But we're going to pay for it. We're going to be punished for losing faith. Even though it was written, it was already preordained, because God didn't want us, actually. He didn't want us there amongst his people in heaven. So he already wrote it in our fate that no matter what we do, even if we're born believers, we will not die as believers. But he's going to punish us for that. That is the irony. That is why we're the Helens of Troy. That is why we're chess pieces. We are the sacrificial lambs in a game that we have no say in. These are facts. Again, as I said, you can romanticize these facts by talking about how great God is, how merciful he is, how kind he is, but again, how, he's made this life, how he's made us and all. But again, we can talk about him testing us and testing our faith, and that these are the questions that will bring us out of faith. And these are, you know what? Strangely, ironically enough, God is the one who told us to ask questions. He is the one who told us to try and put 2 and 2 together. In fact, why would we even try to put 2 and 2 together? He actually gave us the 2 and 2 to put together. He told us himself that before I created anything, I created a pen. And then I told that pen to fill the pages of the book. And then the pen asked, with what? And I gave him the whole story. And after I finished that book, I made it. I made the people. I made the world. I threw the people down, everything, blah, blah, blah. There we are. So he's literally telling us all of this. We're not making stuff up here. So this is why I'm saying that when we remove all talks about faith and religion and all, and we just come down to brass tacks, what do we have in front of us? We have an entity that has made us. Because he has made us, he owns us. So we have no say. But we are going to be punished for whatever it is that we do or do not do, what we think or do not think, even though it was already preordained. It was written, it was designed. This is where we stand. The fact that we are going through life not even knowing what we're doing here Even if we do find our purpose in life, it can be taken away from us anytime. But we're going to pay for that too. The fact that actually, even though God may think that it is a very good compensation, and we, I guess, say it to ourselves to make ourselves feel better that, oh, yeah, that God is going to allow bad people do anything and everything they want to do in this world. They can rape, they can kill, they can commit genocide, they can try to hoard sunlight, they can try to hoard water, they can try to even look for ways to hoard air, they can try to charge you for living, even for breathing, even for drinking water, for anything and everything. They will try to play gods. And it doesn't matter to God. Obviously, it doesn't matter to him because, hello, and this whole scope that we call the universe, we're like ants. Now imagine how vast the universe is. And now imagine that God is even bigger than the universe because he has to be bigger than the universe in order to make the universe so big. You cannot make something that is bigger than you. Right? You will say, wrong. We make statues that are bigger than us. Do we really? Really? Think about it. Yeah. We do not make things that we cannot handle or control. So, again, I'll say it again. We've understood that the universe is vast, almost infinite, and ever changing, ever expanding. And I would add my bit here and say also, at the same time, exploding and imploding. Just like the earth itself and everything else on earth, everything is constantly dying and rejuvenating simultaneously. I think that's what the universe is doing too. It is dying and rejuvenating simultaneously. So even if in its never-ending expansion, okay, so we have what to us is an infinite, vast entity that is space. So that's the universe as such. Or, okay, add all the parallel universes together and the multiple universes and whatever you like to call it and put them all together still. So it means God has to be even bigger, right? Even bigger than this whole vast entity that is the space, that is the universe. And then we know that the jinns and the angels are also pretty huge. Generally, they are huge because especially the angels, have to be huge enough for them to be flitting through the universe because that is what they seemingly do. Apparently, some of them, those who are within the realms of the universe, within the realms of space, who are constantly praying, as the prophet has said, between every star, between every planet. There are at least 2 to 3 finger spaces, was it? Worth in which, was it fingers? Anyway, you know the point. The point is that the space between each spatial body is filled with the angels. So, and we know that the angels are gigantic again. So again, God has to be bigger than even the angels. Okay. So I think we've got that clear, right? What I'm trying to say now? Yeah. We don't matter. We don't matter. Nothing matters. This life doesn't matter. But again, as I said, if we look deeper into it, if we look at the in a baser manner, if we look into it and we think, oh, we always seem to celebrate, for example, karma, and we're like, oh, karma's a bitch, but yeah, I guess it is a bitch. You know why? Because it shits on the person that shat on us, but we still have shit on us. So who cares he got shat on? No, seriously. Who cares that karma decided to come and shit on that person? We're also still steeped in shit. If karma would come, remove us from that shit, place us at a higher place, give us a compensation, and then go and shit on him at the same time, yeah, that would be the ideal karma. So why are we celebrating karma again? Explain to me, please. What is so good about karma coming and slapping the other person in the face without fixing the shit that person put you in? I don't care for such karma. Okay? Here's number one. Number two, the more I think about it, I'm thinking if somebody has done something to me in this life, the real compensation would be that in the next life, when we go back to the hereafter, the exact same thing should be done to him. But that we know that's not possible, I guess. And so, if that's not possible, if all he's going to do is to end up in hell, I'm sorry, it's not helping me. It means that this world has ended, right? This world has ended. Whatever happened in this world has ended. It doesn't matter if God compensates me in the next world, because what am I getting? No, seriously, what am I getting? Okay, so for example, if somebody has just taken away 20 years of my life, is God going to give me 20 years of my life back? No. So where's the compensation? Is he going to give me back time? No. Is he going to allow me to relive this life and make up for those 20 years? No. So what's he going to do? Does it matter? It doesn't matter anymore. That's not compensation to me. It's not. I'm sorry, but it's not. These are facts, okay? I don't want people coming around and saying, oh, you shouldn't say this to God. You should say, listen, I've been as religious as frack from day one, okay? Don't talk to me about religion. Don't talk to me about faith. Don't talk to me about what I can or cannot say about it, because I have been through the whole 9 yards and then some. I have nothing against religion and I have nothing against anything, but these are points that we should ponder upon if we need to at least try to understand what the frack is happening here. So, what is happening is you go and you rape somebody. Is God going to have you raped? No. How is that helping? I know. Now somebody will come and say, oh, but you know what? Remember the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, nobody will leave this life until he has faced every single thing that he has done to someone. Right, and I was getting a call in between, so I had to hit, so it goes on to auto pause. So I was saying that, yes, the Prophet did mention, peace be upon him, that nobody will leave this earth, nobody will die, in other words, unless and until they haven't faced whatever it is that they have said and done to others, and it comes back to them. So they have to go through every single thing that they have done to somebody else. But again, how does it help us? For example, if you have ruined somebody's life, okay, so at the end the same things happen to you, but that person's life is still ruined. It's the same, that whole karma. That is basically the whole definition of karma, which I already talked about. So as I said before, I don't agree with that, because how is it helping me? For example, if I'm the victim here, tell me, how the frack is it helping me? It's not. And the azans have begun, but they're still, further away. So when the main azan will start, which is at my own, at the closest proximity, is probably when I'll hit pause again. But I mean, here you are. So what I'm trying to say is, sometimes when I think very deeply about how it is that people have been harmed in this world, and how is it that God thinks that he can compensate? I mean, compensate, yes, he can, maybe, yes. And the main azan has begun, so I'll hit pause. Right. So, yeah, granted, I may have forgotten some of the details with regards to all of that, but I do remember enough to remember that, okay, God does mention that he will humiliate those who have humiliated others in this world. So that is an appropriate, I would say, punishment or compensation, and both, in fact, because yes, it doesn't matter if it is this world or the next, then, because in this world you will humiliate somebody in front of what, 2, 3, 20, 400 people, but then up there in front of the whole humanity, you're going to be freaking humiliated by God himself. Yes, that is going to be amazing. Now that to me is very, very appropriate. But for so many other things, it seems that God's main agenda is throwing people into the fire and using the fire as a punishment. Now, explain how getting burnt over and over again is going to help me get the desired punishment for something that is very specifically done. Okay, so for example, as I said, if you murder somebody, then you getting killed over and over again the same exact way you killed that person, that is an appropriate punishment. Maybe God does have it in store. I don't know, because most of the punishments that I seem to dig out are all related to fire, hellfire, burning. And again, I'm thinking, how is that an appropriate punishment, seriously? Especially when he didn't get murdered in this life either, you see. So again, here also comes that part that it's not necessary, that every single thing that you have done on this earth is going to be done back to you on this earth before you die. So if you are a murderer, you will not die getting murdered. You will probably die your natural death. Maybe you will have a terminal illness and people will think, oh, that's karma, that's karma. That's not karma to me, sorry. No. Terminal illness, anybody can get terminal illness. But a murderer dying with terminal illness, how is that an appropriate karma? I don't know. Again, as I said, rape. My biggest concern here is rape. Now, if you've raped somebody, how is it a good compensation or punishment that you're going to be burnt in the hellfire? You know what a good punishment will be in the next life? Is if you get pulled by your balls and your dick and it gets minced into 1,000 pieces over and over and over again while you feel violated at the back end, because that's the only end you have, the only hole you have. So imagine. Now that is an appropriate punishment. Perfect. But I somehow don't seem to find that kind of a detail. So what? You're just going to burn his dick off and that's it? Cut his balls off and put it in his mouth maybe? What? How? Sorry, again. How is that? I think rape should be for rape. He should be raped while getting his balls and dick cut off. That's an appropriate judgment. You're not going to undo. Again, obviously, that's what I'm trying to say. Whatever is done in this world will be done and dusted and finished with. Nothing will be undone. And God Himself accepts the fact and acknowledges the fact that there are some pains, some hurts, some wounds, some harms and losses in this world that people will suffer that even He cannot compensate. He cannot ease that pain. And so what is He going to do? His idea is He will erase the memory. And He thinks that it's amazing. Yeah, God actually thinks that this is amazing. And I think that when you go through so much pain, so much suffering, so much bitterness, yes, it may help to make you completely forget all of that. But does the soul really forget? When the pain is etched within your soul. In other words, okay, fine, He's God. He can make your soul forget too. But to me, that is cheating. He can't undo what was done, and he can't ease the pain. He's aware of the fact that it is a pain that cannot be appropriately compensated. And so He thinks, oh, presto, erase the memories, and we're done. Why inflict such a pain? Why write down on your script such a pain? Why put somebody through such a pain? When you know that it will be so much that even you cannot offer compensation. Why? Because you're God. Yes. Ultimately, you see, everything boils down to one answer. Because He's God. So even if He tends to be a sadist, cruel imperialist, we can't say anything because He's God. So He has the right to be a sadist, and He has the right to be cruel, and He has the right to be anything and everything He wants to. We have no say. Why? Because we're His property. And because nobody can argue with that. And that is where we're supposed to shut up. As I said, we're just unromanticizing everything and putting it down to brass tacks for better understanding as to where we really stand. There are a lot of crimes on this earth, a lot of sins on this earth that I personally feel just throwing them into hell and using fire to punish them, to me, is still not enough. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you look at the whole hideousness of fire, of burning through flesh and then making the flesh grow again into new and then again burning it down. Yeah, or maybe putting fire through your anus and bringing it out through your mouth in the form of gold and silver fire, molten lava, whatever. Okay, that's all. But again, those are appropriate again according to you using gold and silver to commit a crime. That is appropriate. But so many crimes that you do against humanity, against individuals, that I'm sorry, but I do not see burning into fire and into flames as an appropriate punishment. To me, it is as bad as your half-assed karma in this world, where you're still in deep shit, and now the other person's in deep shit, but nobody's getting you out of that shit. So do you really care if he's in deep shit too? I know I don't. I don't care if that person dies. I don't care if he has cancer. I don't care if he gets raped even. I don't. Because I am still where I am. Simple. Just food for thought. Yeah. So, in the next life, what are we supposed to expect? Again, God said it himself that it is up to him. He may suddenly like something that somebody has said or done and say, "Oh, I forgive your sins." But thankfully, he has excluded sins and transgressions against humanity. Yes, that thankfully, he is fair enough to say that if you have hurt somebody else, unless that person doesn't forgive you, I'm not forgiving you either. You can pray and fast and give charity all you want. But until that person doesn't forgive you, you are not getting forgiven. And as we know, people are not gods. We do not forgive, and we certainly do not forget. So, I wonder if we are allowed to customize the punishments. After all, it's only fair that those of us who have been victims of crimes against us should be able to tell God that, okay, you know what, we want this exact punishment to be meted out against that person. Why are you just going to throw him into the fire? Again, how is that helping me? Is that going to bring 25 years of my life back, for example? No. Is that going to make me get all that I worked hard for? No. You know what is going to be an appropriate compensation for me? Strip them of every single thing that they thought that they have earned in order to go to heaven. Strip them of it all. Just like how you've stripped their victims of every single fruit and reward of their hard work in this world. That's appropriate. Make them feel helpless and empty, like how their victims were made to feel helpless and empty. So, for example, if in this world I've worked hard, but everything was taken away from me deliberately, and I'm left with nothing. So, shouldn't it be fair that that person, when they go up there after their deaths, every single reward that they worked so hard to earn, those points that they have earned in order to go to heaven above, should be taken away from them? There is something of the sort, by the way, as I said, where God says all your good deeds will be stripped off of you and will be given to your victim, and all their bad deeds will be stripped off of them and given to you. Yes, it is good, but I want a more exact, a more fitting punishment, where they should actually feel the helplessness and the frustration One might argue they will, because that's now forever. They've lost everything forever. And there's no redoing it. Just like how there's no undoing of your pain, there's no redoing for them too. They cannot re earn those rewards. So maybe it does balance out. Still, I do sometimes still think that sometimes I feel what is done in this world, it's done, it's finished. I sometimes feel that there are certain things that the compensation and the punishments in the next world can still not offer. It cannot offer that compensation that would have actually helped if you did it in this world. But then again, one would argue that in the next world, in short, there are very few people who have good endings. And there are even fewer people who get that justified karma where they get out of that shit and the person who put them there gets into that shit. So, at the end of the day, the point is whether we say or do something, we have to pay for it. If we don't say or don't do something, we still have to pay for it. If we have strong faith in God, we will still pay for it. It will be a huge loss for us in this world in the name of tests. If we have no faith in God, we will have huge success in this world and then face loss in the next world. So in any case, we are always at a loss, faith or no faith. And that is the whole definition of our existence. And this is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz.